Hello everybody, and welcome to Petrosys webinars. My name is Ewan Rule, and this webinar introduces Petrosys Pro 2017 and the new map templates. The webinar will be recorded and uploaded to the Petrosys website in the next few days. The webinar will last for around 15 minutes. If you have any questions, please enter them in the questions panel. All questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. Petrosys Pro is the successor to version 17, and as you can see, we've given the front end a refresh. It's now easier to get to the mapping and surface modelling modules, and the thumbnail will open up the mapping itself. Our agenda today includes a brief PowerPoint overview of the headline features, a live demo of the map templates, and we'll finish with a recap of the key benefits of Pro, followed by answering any questions you have. So why have we introduced map templates? Client feedback encourages us to make it faster and easier to produce attractive maps, and there were several drawbacks with existing map sheets. Each new project needed map sheets created or edited. New users sometimes didn't know what to do, and experienced users didn't always have time to make the maps look as good as they could be. Changing the scale or page size required a lot of manual editing. This map on the left is at 1 to 20,000. If you saved it at 1 to 100,000, you would get the image on the right, and you can see there's a lot of edits required there. There's an excellent short video on our website and social media showing just how much time and effort the map templates save in a case like this. And also, there was no way to enforce corporate mapping standards across the user community. So the map sheet's been replaced with a style. The style is a map framework and an extent, which you may also call the area of interest. And the extent can still be either fixed or it can be dynamic. At larger sites, styles will be set up by a mapping expert and then be available to all users to apply to their own data. Extents can also be fixed and stored at site level, so all users can start with the same area if they're working with a specific field, a basin, or a country. The end user just needs to display their data and then pick from the list of corporate map templates. And below we have an example where the same map template, the map styles, been applied to two totally different areas of interest in different coordinate reference systems. For larger organisations, there are options to lock down map templates so that they cannot be edited. There are two levels: total lockdown so that nothing can be edited, and partial lockdown where only map elements can be moved or switched on or off. The default styles can also be deactivated so that only company-approved styles are available. I'm sure many of you will be interested in the new functionality to drag and drop from DECISIONSPACE. Unfortunately, I don't have it available in my computer, so we'll just quickly look at what this functionality includes. It gives users the ability to drag and drop an object from the DSG inventory onto the Petrosys map canvas. In mapping, this will automatically create a display layer for the data type. And in surface modelling, gridding inputs such as interpreted horizons or a 3D bin grid used to control the grid geometry can be dragged onto the gridding control panel. Drag and drop is also supported for DECISIONSPACE on both Linux and Windows. A wide range of data types is supported, and while we won't be covering this in the live demo, we do have a video showing the functionality which is available on request. If you would like to download the video, please get in touch with your local support office and they will point you to where you can get access to it. There are many more new and updated features in Pro. Petrosys is already well known for the standard of its contouring. However, we're continually trying to improve it, and there are a range of improvements to the algorithm, notably when working with zero contours. So what we have on the right here is one of those cases where the zero contour has resulted in lots of little loops. And in Petrosys Pro, you can see it's now producing a much better result, and it will also do a better job, in some cases, roundabout faults. We've also made some further enhancements to our Petrel plugin. We support geopolygons. The 2D seismic folder can be used for filtering data, and well colors will be maintained when you drag and drop them into your Petrosys map. For those sites using the 3D viewer, it is now easy to control the extent, and this improves performance and makes it easier to focus on key features. This webinar will only touch on a few key features. Please contact your local Petrosys office to arrange an in-depth demo for your team. And during the demo, we're going to work with data supplied by the UK Oil and Gas Agency. I will now move into the software. So I'm starting off with a Petrel project. We already have drag and drop from Petrel, so for DECISIONSPACE users, the sort of thing you see here will also be available to you within DECISIONSPACE. We'll start off Petrosys Pro, and you can see we've got the new front end here. As I mentioned, if we click in the thumbnail, this now opens up the mapping window. For those of you familiar with Petrosys, the first thing you'll realise is that if you went into a new project, you just used to have a totally blank panel. Now we do have a very basic map template displayed. So this is one of the default map styles, a box with some coordinates and a scale bar. To get our data in from the other application, we'll just pick in the wells and we'll drag and drop them into the map canvas. So before we talk more about the map templates, I'll just zoom in a little bit, and you can see that in this case the wells from Petrel have got the same symbols, but they've also maintained the colours of the well symbol, the deviation survey, and if we tops displayed, the top colours would be exactly the same in Petrosys as they are in Petrel. So this too helps to maintain map standards between the different applications. I'm not going to display any more data in the map because the focus of this demonstration is really about the area of interest in the map styles, not the data that's displayed within it. You can see we have some options down at the bottom to choose the map templates, the extents, and also choose whether it's a dynamic or fixed extent. And we've got a new toolbar in the top left which helps us to control the currently selected extent. So let's immediately get out of this default extent and this default style, and we'll choose one of our corporate map styles. So from the map template selector, you can see the styles that are shipped with the software. Those are the system styles. And we've also got some site-specific ones. I'll choose this one that's intended for using with a PowerPoint. If you were upgrading from an existing project, you would also see the names of your map sheets in here, so you can still select styles and extents from existing map sheets. So I've now chosen a very simple map style, but one that is very useful for putting into PowerPoint presentations. It's still got XY coordinate annotation and it's got a simple scale bar. So please do focus on how the coordinates update automatically and the scale bar updates as we start to work with different extents. The first tool I'm going to use is the one with the magnifying glass, and we'll just zoom in this area here. You can see the data redisplays. We've not had to do anything with the style itself, it's just automatically updated. It may not be too obvious, but the scale bar has also updated there. We have other ways that we can control this extent. We have tools to make it a little bit bigger. We can increase it by 10%. Or we can increase it by 100%, make it a lot bigger. Again, everything just automatically updates each time we do this. We can also use the icon with a hand on it to zoom in or to drag around the place. You can zoom in or out with the centre mouse button or drag around to a different area of interest. So that too will be a very useful way to make slight adjustments to the area you're looking at before you choose to save it. At any stage, you can choose to take this map extent and save it for future use in your own project, or at site level. If you go to the map template menu, which is replaced the map sheet menu, just go to extent and then choose save as template. You'll notice at the moment what it says is that it's map based. So the area of interest extent is going to be saved into the DBM file too. So that will be available to you if you reopened this display in future. Another way that you can select extent is to zoom in an area. And if you're happy that this is really the area that you're most interested in, this icon here becomes available and you can use the currently zoomed area to set the map extent. Again, you can see the scale bars updated. Of course, it's very easy to get your maps into PowerPoint with Petrosys. There's a one-click option that will just take this image and put it straight into a PowerPoint presentation. There may be circumstances where you would like the same map, but you would want it for a different purpose, where perhaps you want to include a bit more information. I'm going to go back to my original data extent. Just swap this back over again. And that assumed is out to the maximum extent of the data. To change the style of this map, we return to our style selector here, and we'll choose this regional map style. So this is another one that's been set up by our company expert, and it includes both XY coordinates and also lat longs in the map boundary. And you can see the map's also got a title bar where we've got a company title block, we've got a north arrow, and we've got a dynamic location map. So location map also updates automatically if we change the extent. So just one more time, I'll select a new extent in here. It will take it just a second to draw to recalculate itself. But you can see that on the location map, the area of interest has got slightly smaller. The other thing to be aware of in the new version is that there are options to control the scaling of the maps. So if we click on this icon here, it brings up some options to control the map template, and in particular the page setup and scaling. Probably 98% of maps that people produce these days are for PowerPoints and presentations, so you'll find that the default scaling is for the screen. It should always look good when you put it into your presentations. If you do want to produce hard copy maps or documents, there's also an option to use a fixed scale. So you can specify what the scale will be and it will show you what the actual produced plot would be. Or you can set it to a specific fixed page size. You could choose something like letter or A3, and the map will be squeezed onto that size of paper. Just be aware that for circumstances like this where we've got quite a wide map, if we were to put that onto a portrait piece of paper, then the area of interest would change slightly. There would be some extra space produced at the top and the bottom, just so that it did fit correctly onto the A4 page. You can see we've also got options here to round the scale to something that is cartographically sensible. If you really want it to be exactly the way it is in your plot, you can switch that over to be exact, and that will give you what you're after. The final option in here is to scale your map to be both a fixed page size and scale, and by that we mean that it will maintain its aspect ratio correctly and just be scaled down to the size of the paper that you're selecting there. And finally, for anybody that's involved with setting up the map templates, or for people that aren't working in larger companies, you'll find that the map template menu gives you all the options you need to control these things. So you can pick the extents in here, and for the styles themselves, you can choose New, Select, or Edit. And editing options will be quite familiar. They look very similar to what we have for controlling things like coordinate annotation in the older version. One thing that is different about the styles is that map elements can be included as part of a map template, so they're always there and always in the same locations. And you can see they sit in here in the display list. If you want to, you can actually save a DBM file that has no data displayed and use that as a template for future use. I'll now return to the PowerPoint just to finish off. So to summarise, map templates are a huge advance in how corporate mapping standards are applied. They will ensure consistency and make it much quicker and easier for new users to benefit from Petrosys. DECISIONSPACE drag and drop will also make workflows quicker and easier, as users will no longer need to search through menus to find their data. Literally just click it on the DECISIONSPACE inventory, drag it over, and you can start working with it immediately with a nice map template. The Petrel users will appreciate the consistency in presenting their well data. And while the editors are one of Petrosys' key strengths, the contour interpolation improvement should reduce the likelihood that any manual editing will be required, at least with Petrosys' own data formats. In combination, map templates and drag and drop should make it very quick and easy to produce consistent, high-quality maps throughout the E&P process. I hope that you've enjoyed this webinar and found it useful. Thanks again for your time today, and I'll now answer any questions.